Welcome to another episode of the Sipping and Tripping podcast, where we connect with amazing people. Today's topic is trauma, addiction, and mental health. I am your host, Desmond Black, and the person that's sipping and tripping with me today is a person who fought hard to get off drugs, and a person who has a diagnosis that was given to her at a very young age. A person who has managed to get off psych meds, and a person who has gotten out of a toxic relationship. She is none other than Miss Ashley Grandstaff. How are you doing today, and how's your week so far?
Beautiful, beautiful.
That's good. That's good. So, what are you sipping on today?
Water.
Water?
Sometimes
Ain't nothing
water.
wrong. Ain't, ain't nothing wrong with some good old H2O.
Mm-mm.
It definitely quenches the thirst and replenishes the soul. So that's good. So on this platform, I like to conversate, educate, and entertain. And I'm proud to say that so far I've been doing that successfully. Even though it's been a few weeks since I had one of these, but I'm back. This is the start of season 3, so I'm excited. So in your introduction, I mentioned that you be a diagnosis that was given to you at a young age. What can you tell me and the viewers about that?
Well, I was one of those kids that was always told to sit down and shut up in school. My mom had me sent to a mental health specialist and they diagnosed me as being bipolar and ADHD. They put me on medications and about 6 months, or maybe not even 6 months, couple months maybe, I don't know, I was young. I was put on um, I was actually kicked out of school because I had an incident where I was talking to things and people that weren't there. And my mom took me back and they diagnosed me as being schizophrenic and schizoaffective bipolar type. Years later, we found out it was a side effect of the medications, mostly because since I've quit taking the meds, those side effects and me talking and seeing things that aren't there isn't happening. So
Hmm. So okay. So how was that experience? Like when you were seeing things that wasn't really there, like how did that make you feel? Did you get panicked? Who did you reach out to first?
Well, I kind of, at first, like the voices I remember I was hearing in my head, I tried my best to ignore them as much as I could and just kind of acted like they weren't there. And when I started to hear things, and it wasn't even hearing, it was the seeing part, that
Mm,
was, I didn't really know that those things weren't there.
right.
I really thought they were real. I really thought they were real people. So it's not like I would reach out to anybody for help because I thought that I was talking to somebody that was really there. And
Mm,
my mom got me put on even more medications, which kind of turned me into a walking zombie. I was like that kid at school that sat at lunch by herself. I didn't really fit in with anybody. I always felt alone, misunderstood, and felt like I was always a problem to everybody, a
I,
problem that they were trying to fix and point fingers at.
I got you. Yeah, I know that could be rough on people. I haven't experienced that, but I've dealt with a lot of things in my life that made me feel like I was isolated or alienated from other people.
Oh yeah, I
I
felt like
felt
that since the very beginning of of it all. And I mean, really, I was just depressed and I was anxious. I had questions to ask, and teachers weren't willing to give me the time and attention because I wasn't the star cheerleader and just wasn't their prize pupil. And I was always asking the weird questions. So why were those built? Why was those pyramids built? And they told me why, the hold, esophaguses. And I'm like, but that doesn't make sense. And I would ask deeper questions and I'm just told to shut up and quit asking. And I was the type that just didn't want to shut up. I wanted answers.
right. So so for lack of better words, a little rebellious because of your curiosity. Is
Yes.
that safe to say?
Yes.
Okay.
Very, very thing to say.
Okay. And you said your parents had you put on psych meds, and that's what caused the side effects and things of that nature.
Yeah.
How did your parents take the news, or how was they dealing with this during that time?
Well, my mom had just started going through health problems of her own. So
Hmm.
let's just say she was battling her own demons. And she was pretty much willing to do whatever the doctors told her to do. If the doctors told her to put me on 20 meds, she probably would have done it. I mean, I was on like maybe 8 different psych meds, 2 of them being the strongest ones, Depakote, lithium, and so on and so forth. But she was just pretty much doing what she thought in that time was what was best for me, because she was told that, that's what was best. So she, society programming, you're going to do what a doctor tells you to do instead of looking into deeper into side effects, long-term side effects, short-term side effects, and all of that.
Okay. So where were you born and where did you grow up?
I was born in Wheeling, West Virginia, and I grew up in Bridgeport, Ohio.
Okay. Which state you like better?
Neither. Actually,
Neither?
I like Ohio better, but I mean they're both okay.
Okay. So I've been to West Virginia before. I've been to like 16 or 17 different states. So I've never been to Ohio yet. So um what is there to do in Ohio?
Uh Really, where I live at, not a lot unless you got a lot of money. I mean, I like taking my kids for walks. We go over to West Virginia to go to like the free parks, like oh crap, the name of it, just like the free state parks.
Right.
Tomlinson State Park is over there and it's free. You can go kayaking, pay $5 for the whole day. You can go hike and get lost in the woods for free. The only thing you can't do is go swimming in the pool for free, but they got the lake that you go kayaking and you can go swimming in that for free, which is, my boys and I prefer lake water instead of the core, you know, filled swimming pool water. Um,
Gotcha.
but we love doing outdoor stuff. We're actually tonight probably going to go camping at my spare house down in Bridgeport's yard because it's free there, and I refuse to pay money to go camping when I have a huge yard with a forest that we can go play in and a creek we can go explore and not have to pay anything.
Oh, that's good. What was I about to say? So when I used to live down south in North Carolina, I went what was it, 2 summers, two consecutive summers. I went to a log cabin in West Virginia, and it was fantastic. At first, I didn't like the idea. I got invited, and I'm like, I don't want to go camping, but it was fun. We used to kayak and we a whole bunch of stuff. Like it was a cabin, a log cabin, but we also slept outside one of the nights, and then we slept in the cabin. It was cool. I thought the interior of the cabin, I thought was very nice. So it's something I definitely want to do again. Because yeah, like I said, that was years ago when I was like high school. So that'll be good. Maybe I go next year because normally at least once a year I go see my father and my family on my father's side in North Carolina. But this year, unfortunately, I didn't. So maybe I do Virginia next year. I don't know.
Yeah, Virginia
But
is beautiful. I love it there.
yeah. It's a different atmosphere down south than it is where I'm at in Jersey. So, but yeah. Okay. So, do you have any siblings?
Yes. I had my blood brother. He passed away from cancer in 2012. He was actually he's more like a dad to me. And then I have
Mm,
2 stepbrothers and a stepsister, and all of their friends are kind of family.
mm. That's nice, nice. Yeah, family is everything. When you got family in your life, it's very important. Because, or at least the way it should be is when you don't have nobody else, family should be your go-to. So supposed to. It's not always the case though.
Yeah,
But
it's not
so
really, well, I'm not going to say it's not the case. It's not the case for me. My brother growing up, he was very overprotective of me. He was my rock. Like if it wasn't for him, I probably would have been put in children's services a very, very long time ago. My mom was
mm,
diagnosed with stomach cancer and had to get her whole entire stomach taken out. And my stepdad was forced to go to Pittsburgh or Allegheny General Hospital. He would go there after work Monday through Friday, and then he'd come home Friday after he was done with her. 9 times out of 10, he was either really high or really drunk. And when he got home, it was just getting screamed at because the house was a mess and we were partying all week. They left me to be raised by my siblings, and all of my siblings were in their party stages, and I was the only young one. So we were all getting drunk all week long, not showing up for school. But when my brother realized how much trouble I was getting in school, he actually decided to drop out of school to make sure that I was, well, he didn't really drop out. He just kind of like did his stuff from home, talked to his teachers, and they understood. Now, when he got older, he did drop out, but he wanted to make sure I was making the best choices. And at the time, I kind of really hated him for it because he would show up to parties and like kick in the door and then come in and grab me by the back of my back of my shirt, throw me over his shoulder, and would walk home. And I'm sitting there kicking, screaming, like, let me go, leave me alone. But really, now I'm like, he was just trying to do the best he could with a chaotic little fucking sister that wanted to party and was looking for all these distractions and to have fun at a young age.
Got you. All right. So what do you do in your spare time?
Right now, currently,
Yes.
I meditate a lot. I like sitting outside a lot. I like to read spiritual books a lot. I do a lot of homework and I study a lot, even stuff that I'm not even going to school for. I read up on just because I'm interested in it.
Gotcha. Okay, so you mentioned school, like so you're currently in school.
Yes.
What are you studying or trying to do?
Well, right now I'm taking 2 different certification classes, getting ready to get my Reiki 2. And then I'm taking zone technician school of healing. I'm actually getting ready to be certified in that October 4th and 5th in Columbus. And then I'm also getting my master's degree in source code alchemy.
Okay, that's good. I mean, so best luck to you. Um, Now we mentioned you having kids. How many kids do you have?
I have 2 boys.
2 boys. Okay, they get along.
Sometimes it's
Yeah,
rare.
because I got 3 boys and a girl. My 3 boys, they don't get along. Oh my God, it's always chaotic. They always arguing and tattletelling. This one did this and that one. Normal shit. But it's just mine is just they just off their rocker all the time.
Yeah.
So you just gotta treat them differently, right? Like,
Yeah.
cater to their own individual needs. And, I find 9 times out of 10, I got the solution to solve it. It's just when I'm trying to do things that it's difficult because they want that time and attention. And so, sometimes we bump heads. But at the end of the day, I wouldn't trade my kids in for nothing. Love them to death. They know that.
Oh, yeah.
So are you done with kids or are you open for more?
I honestly don't know. I guess whatever God gives me, I'll take.
I got you. Okay. So you didn't close the door on that completely. Okay, I hear you.
Yeah.
How old are you?
I am 35.
35. Okay.
Mhm.
Uh, and you're married?
I am technically, yeah.
Technically married. Okay. So right, speaking about marriages, you had told me yesterday that you had gotten out of a toxic marriage. What can you tell us about that?
Well, I met the man about 7 years ago when I was messy and chaotic myself. He was messy and chaotic. Um, I had relapsed on drugs whenever I had met him, and he found
Mm,
out. The way he found out was catching me doing drugs, and he didn't mention it to a whole day for it to me. Did not talk to me about it or anything from us a whole day. And then he finally sat down and talked to me about it. And he shared a little bit about his life story and told me how he watched his mom get murdered in front of him, shot in her head when he was 7 years old, him and his sisters.
mm,
And him and his sisters
mm,
were separated from there on out. And when he shared that with me, that helped me understand that just because I felt broken because of everything that happened to me when I was younger and everything I had went through did not mean that I had to use drugs as an excuse or use drugs to fix me. And
mm,
so he helped me get clean. He helped me clean myself up. He held me every night while I was going through the withdrawals. And I ended up getting on Subutex, which is a medically assisted treatment drug. And he, for a while, things were good. And then he started to become physically abusive. And my oldest son had to call 911 on him because he was trying to choke me to death. And he went to jail, and then he went to EOCC, which is like an kind of like an inpatient treatment place, but they don't base it always off of drugs. They do it for anger management. They do it for parenting coping skills, a lot of things up here. And he stayed the whole 6 months so he could take anger management because he said he wanted to heal those parts of him that made him angry. And then he came home like I think it was like the beginning or maybe the middle of 2019. And he came back and things were good for like maybe 2 years. And I had started noticing that he started to enclose himself and isolate himself, go in a room, shut the door, play video games all day, all night, other than when he worked. Like he wasn't sitting with us at the dinner table anymore. He wasn't outside playing with us or anything. And finally, one day I, explained to him that we needed attention. Your kids need attention. We don't even see you other than when you come home from work and you say hi on your way up the stairs to go get yourself ready to play your video game. And that's not okay. Our kids need your love. And the only time our kids even heard his voice is when he was yelling at them. And the same thing with me. That's the only time I heard his voice is when I did something wrong. And it got so bad to the point that he was getting in my face again. And I told him then that I wasn't going to tolerate it. So I had just started working as a clinical case manager about 5 years ago up here in Steubenville for comprehensive behavioral health, and had to get certified and become a qualified mental health specialist. And I was driving all day long for work, and it took me 30 minutes to get home, 30 minutes to get to work, plus an 8-hour shift. And I was by the time I got home from work, I was so exhausted that I couldn't even parent. I couldn't mentally do much. So I'd explained to him that I needed to move up here to be closer to my career and closer to my clients if I'm to make money, so that I'm not so exhausted when I got home from work. Because driving that long and all day long and listening to people's problems, that's exhausting, right?
Right.
Instead of him understanding it, he looked at it as just me wanting to leave him. So I went ahead and just moved up here, told him if you wanted to come, you could come. If you didn't want to come, you didn't have to come. Well, I moved up here, brought all my stuff up here, paid my deposit, my first month's rent and all that, put myself on the lease. And about 6 months later, he came knocking on my door and I was like, okay, I'm ready to move. So I'm like, okay, well, get your shit, come on. So he moved up here with me. And when I started my healing journey, like with getting like spiritual and meditating, I had to go through. It was right after I gave birth to my youngest son, and he's 4 now. When I was pregnant with him, I had to get off all my psych meds because I was pregnant and didn't want to infect or affect him. The only drug they kept me on was the Subutex. And when he was born, his little body, every little fiber and being of him was shaking. And we had to stay in the hospital with him for 2 weeks. And I remember like thinking to myself, what kind of mother brings their child into the world like that? And of course, nobody had told me at the beginning like that would happen, and that if you got pregnant, that the kid would be born with withdrawals and would be born addicted to whatever drug you were taking, and never told me any of that. So at that point, I started to try to get off Subutex. And when I say every bone in my body ached, every fucking bone in my body ached so bad, I didn't want to leave my goddamn bed. And I remember going down that depression after I gave birth to him, that I just felt like, I just wanted to die because nothing made sense. Nothing I did was good enough. I couldn't be a mom because I was mentally fucked up in my head because I wasn't on any of my psych meds and didn't know how to cope with life naturally. And I remember calling my friend Tara and telling her that I needed to go to a psych ward because I was probably going to kill myself. And she told me to read 2 books. She said, before you do that, I need you to read a book. And she told me it was called Eckhart Tolle, The Power of Now. So I read that book, and it took me down a wormhole, and I've been down that rabbit hole since. So after I gave birth to my son, they diagnosed me with depression, PTSD, and generalized anxiety. They took away most of my other diagnoses. Those were the only 3 they kept. And not only did they want me to put me back on drugs, but I refused. And I started meditating. I started getting out in the sun barefoot every day. I started taking walks with my kids. I started going to nature. I started going inwardly for my love instead of trying to find it from everyone and everything. And my husband first was going on that journey with me. He was meditating every day, and everything was going. When I say I felt like I was walking in a fairy tale every day, I was. Like, my husband used to be a drug dealer, and I used to be a drug addict. And we were living a life sober, free of drugs, and healing naturally. Like, it's almost unheard of in my area. And I went on a school trip, or I started going to Praxis Aletheia, which is the first year of the Source Code Alchemy School master's degree I'm getting now. they had school retreats, school trips, and you had to go to Chicago for Unitary Evolutionary Week. And I went up, I invited him to go with me. He refused to go. And while I was up there, this man, Jason, was staying across the street from us in a hotel. And I called my husband to let him know that Jason asked me to ride him back and forth to school with me and the 3 girls I was rooming with, and that he would give me like $30 to $50 a day for gas, depending if I took him there and back. And I'm like, that's money in my pocket, and we need extra money because I had to also send my husband money because he was laid off from work at that time. And so asked him if I could do it. He was playing a video game while I was talking to him. He was like, yeah, whatever, da 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 da. And then I video call him after school one day, and Jason's sitting in my passenger, and my 3 girlfriends are sitting in my back seat. And he looks over at Jason. He said, who the fuck is the man in your passenger seat? I was like, that's the guy I told you yesterday that I'm going to be giving rides back and forth to school. He's too big to sit in my back seat. You know that. He's 6 foot tall. I explained all this to you yesterday. He said, no, the F you didn't. But from then on, it was like, I don't know if I think I triggered something in him. Because from then on, after I came home from Chicago, it was just straight spitefulness. He was angry with me. He honestly believed I cheated on him on that trip and that I had a full-blown relationship with this man. And after that, I was getting accused of this and that and this and that. And at that point, we were already married. And no matter how many times I put the facts in front of him, no matter how many times I explained to him, like, I got accused of having a relationship with my oldest son's dad, who's been in prison since my son was 4 years old. My son's now 13. And he's going to be there till he's 15 because I put money on this man's book so that my son can talk to him. And it's only because one day my son asked me to. He had finally decided he would talk to his dad. So, yeah, I'm not going to tell my oldest son no. Yeah, I'll put money. I would have been doing it from the beginning if my son wanted to talk to him. But he's never shown interest in him until he got older. And not only that, but he was at that age where he was hitting puberty and he really needed his fucking dad. And my about to be ex-husband wasn't really giving him attention. He was back to isolating himself in the room with video games 24/7. So I started putting money on his dad's phone, and I got accused of being in a full-blown relationship with him. If I would try to go take a walk, I got followed. And I was starting to feel the spit hit my face, and he was putting his hand on our kids physically out of anger. I kept giving him those boundaries. You know, if you keep doing this, I'm going to leave. If you don't go to parenting classes, if you don't go get some kind of therapy or something, we're going to leave. You're going to come home one day and we're going to be gone. And I've always had those deep-seated core wounds because I was, you know, physically and mentally abused as a child. So it's fearful for me when I've already been almost strangled by a man, that a man's put his hands on me and he starts getting in my face and I spill his spit, hit my face. Like, that's triggering. And he wouldn't allow me the space to walk away so that we could both calm down. And I'm not that type that I'm going to sit there and argue with you anymore. That's not me. And he kept seeing me as that broken girl and wanted me to scream at him. He wanted me to fight with him and hit him. And I just didn't want to do that anymore. And I came home one day and I had picked my boys up from school, my stepson as well. And I explained to my kids what was about to happen. I explained to them that, you know, I gave their dad every chance possible to change, to go get help, and he refuses to. And I'm not going to sit here and let him continue physically abusing you guys and emotionally abusing me in front of you guys. My youngest was, you know, 2.5 years old. I couldn't take him nowhere because it was so embarrassing. He would scream in my face, like even at 3 years old. Like I take him grocery shopping and I tell him no for something, can't get a toy. He's trying to punch me in my face and screaming, fuck you, bitch, in the middle of Kroger. It's like, no, we're not. And it's all because he learned it. He learned it from his dad. He's watched his dad do it. And he's watched his dad hit his brothers and punch them and smack them and knock them down. And I just couldn't do it. I didn't want that anymore. I didn't want that installed in my children and programmed into them on a deeper level. And I deserve more, and so did they. They deserve to have somebody they can look up to and teach them good coping skills and teach them what real love is and how to treat a woman with respect and open doors for her and what real healing even looks like. Because I mean, even right now in society, like they teach us to go to everyone and everything, go to our phones, go to social media, reach out to women, reach out for our love from everyone and everything else. And I don't want my kids to be like that. I want them to find their love within them. And I can't do that. I mean, we was doing it together, but then when I come back to you assuming I'm having sex with a man I don't even know while we're married, like I can't teach. We
Right.
can't. We're no longer the same. Like we're no longer equal. So
Right.
my boys and I had to go to a domestic violence shelter, and I had to get a temporary PTO order on him, which lasted for, I want to say, about 2 weeks. And my free legal aid lawyer told me that it would not stand up in court because it had been too long since he put his hands on me. And
Interesting.
yeah, Ohio laws suck now. When it comes to women and domestic violence. Now, children, on the other hand, if I would have went to court and showed the judge all the times he put his hands on me and my stepson, that would have stood. But then my stepson, because he's not mine, would have been taken into children's services because his mom was on drugs and didn't have her shit together. So he would have had nowhere to go. And he was so young. He was only, I think, 11 years old. He wouldn't have had, like, I didn't want that for him. And I'd asked him, before before we went to the domestic violence shelter, what he wanted to do. If he wanted to stay here with us, if he wanted to go with his dad, and he wanted to go with his dad. And I felt like
Right.
that's their journey. I'm not supposed to intervene, obviously, because this is their choice. We all have that freedom of choice. I'm not supposed to intervene. I can't save everybody. That's not what we're here for. And that was probably one of the hardest pills I had to swallow, because growing up and even now, I want to help people. I want to help my mom get out of her shit and get out of her, physical ailments. I want to help my sister. I want to help my brother.
Uh-oh. Let's see if I can get her back. Try to get her back. What's up, Larry? We just talk about trauma, mental health, and addiction. A little technical difficulties. I'm sure she'll be back. Um, I just shot her a line. She said she had a story to tell. She's been through a lot. So I felt like it was good to have her on the show. So, and how you been, by the way? It's been a while. Yeah, so she was just talking about how she got out of a toxic marriage. Sometimes marriages can be tricky. Just relationships in general could be tricky. Especially when drugs is involved. It's always a red flag where somebody's selling drugs and you're a user, right? And then, you know, trying to make a relationship work, it's a recipe for disaster. Sometimes people get blinded by certain things, and they go in with lust or whatever the case may be, whether they got kids with somebody, and they try their best to make it work. And then once you get addicted, it's the drug you're chasing, not necessarily the man or the woman. And then when you selling drugs, it's like you live in that lifestyle, that fast lifestyle, to where, you know, you're not seeing that woman or that man for who they are. You just grow accustomed to a certain lifestyle. You get used to it. So, you know, it's just one of those things that we gotta live and we gotta learn. Trying to figure out which Ashley went. Yeah, I've been good, Larry. I know you've been sending me this stuff on Facebook Messenger. You know, the things you been doing, the movies and things of that nature. You still supposed to have sent me a link of how to view one of the movies, I believe. How's that been going, by the way? You know, I definitely gotta touch bases with you, maybe later on or something. But yeah, you know, it's a lot of things in life that that affects our mental health, and it's one of those things we gotta get on top of. You know, I don't know why it's this big, why mental health is stigmatized like it is. A lot of people don't believe in mental health illnesses, but they're there, they exist. Hold on. I think she's coming back now. But yeah, it's a big stigma on mental health. But you know, I know that mental health disorders and mental health illnesses are very much real. I've dealt with a lot of uh, traumas in life, right? That affects the mental. Here she goes.
Sorry about that.
Welcome, all good. Welcome back. Welcome back. I don't know if you remember where you left off, but or if you want me to
I
just
don't.
continue. I got you. Now we was talking about the marriage that was toxic for you. I know you told me at one point you thought you couldn't live without that man.
Yes.
Why is that? Why is that exactly?
Well, because he's got a habit of bringing up all the things he had helped me with, like going through getting over the depression and meditating and how far we came, how he helped me get off the drugs. And every time I wanted to leave him or whatever, how we made it through it. And I felt like he was my strength, and not only that, but we went 50% on everything, 50% on bills, 50% on food, 50-50 on everything. So financially and mentally, he made me feel like I needed him to live.
Mm, right.
And um, that just, it stuck with me. It was like programming, right? After you hear that so many times, you're going to believe it. And I remember sitting down with my girlfriend, Lavon, from school, and she was like, you remember you called me crying saying you couldn't live without that man. And look at you out there living and shit. You're doing it. And because
Right.
sometimes it happens every time I hear, not anymore. So far this week, I'm good. But we've had an ugly divorce battle in court. And every time I was hearing his voice or seeing his face, my nervous system was getting, Aaron. And I called her crying. I don't know how many times, telling her that I just need to go back to him because I can't, whenever my nervous system is going crazy, I can't even handle adulting or being a mom or even taking care of myself because I'm stuck in that fear. I'm stuck in that fight or flight. And every time he engages it, like it wasn't every time I heard his voice or see him, it's when he was yelling at me. And that
Right.
happens like maybe twice a month. And every time he did it, it was like it was taking longer for me to get back to my peace and myself. And this
Mm,
last time, it's taken me almost, I want to say almost a whole month. I just now got back to my peace like a week ago. And it's taken a lot of meditating, a lot of inner self-worth and inner journey and journaling and going inwardly to find my solutions to my problems. What's crazy, it had nothing to do with him. It was just me.
gotcha.
It's the story I was
Gotcha.
telling myself.
Mm. Now, before you had told me that nobody thought that you would graduate or even live to see the age of 25. Why is that?
Well, I was the troublemaker. I got, because of my mental health disorders, I got kicked out of two schools, and then finally Belmont Career Center took me. I took auto collision for 2 years and then was put in OWE because my teacher got tired of my shit. And halfway through my senior year, I went into juvenile drug court because I got caught selling marijuana and little rolled things and cigarette packs. I tried to pretend like they were cigarettes, and the school resource officer knew different. And I was put in juvenile drug court, and that kind of helped me open up to my eyes on, why the drugs are bad, why I shouldn't do them. And I quit smoking weed, quit drinking every day. And well, those were the only two things I had done at that age. Like, I didn't do drugs or anything. It was just drinking every day and smoking weed every day. That was just my thing. And I was most likely, Cody Hall and I got most likely to be in the office on every yearbook, always and forever. By the time after I gave birth to my oldest, from that age to, God, when did I get clean off heroin? It's been a little bit over, maybe a little bit less than 10 years. I have overdosed 6 or 7 times.
Wow.
And I was that person who I didn't see a reason for me to live anymore, regardless of they'd say, oh, your mom needs you, your son needs you. And I'm like, no, the fuck they don't. They've gone this long without me. I'm a chaotic fucking mess. Can't even take care of myself. Why in the fuck do I need to stay around for my child or my mother? And they say, oh, well, your mother already lost her brother. I'm like, she's going to lose another one too. Like, I didn't want to live. And it's crazy because you see all these people overdosing and it's accidental. Other than my first 2 overdoses, the rest of them were purposely. I literally just didn't want to live. I was living in my dead brother's car. I was homeless. I was walking to McDonald's and eating food out of a trash can. Nobody really thought I would live past that. And by the age I think I got clean when I was like 26 off heroin, and I've been clean off heroin since. I've relapsed, but it wasn't off heroin, but it's still a relapse.
Right.
Yeah.
That's deep. That's deep. Now, we mentioned that you're a spiritual person, right? Are you religious?
I'm spiritual. Depends on what your definition of spiritual and religious is. What's your definition?
Well, I would say religion, meaning like, if you claim to be like a Christian or a Muslim or things of that nature, and if you are actively going to church, and if you study the Bible or read the Bible and you pray and things of that nature. Do you live by the Bible? I would say that's religious.
I do, but I don't. I believe in the Bible, but I also believe that they've taken parts of the Bible, like the books, like the Book of Thomas, like the books that were important for us to heal ourselves. And Jesus is, they've made up his name. His name, like the J, wasn't even invented and came around until way later. It was Joshua.
Right.
I feel like they've manipulated that Bible so that they can gain, some type of I almost want to say control, but it's not even control, it's programming. Because I believe in going, it's not that I don't believe in going to church. I have, because my kids wanted to go, my mom wanted me to go, so I went to make them happy. Now, it's not that I don't worship, because I do. Every time I meditate, I'm going inwardly. I'm celebrating every day that I wake up and I come outside. I'm saying hi to God. I'm saying hi to the universe, to the trees, to the birds. So yes, I guess I am more of a spiritual in your eyes, because I do believe in God. I also believe in the universe, and I've also studied hermetics. So I also highly believe in the laws of the universe, because if it wasn't for those laws and studying them, I wouldn't have manifested everything that I have now.
Got you. Okay. Okay. So I've had a guest on before tell me I was spiritual, because at first I was saying that I'm not religious and I'm not really spiritual. But I had a couple people, my younger and older brother, both said that they feel like I'm a spiritual person because, from time to time I do go to the Bible, try to understand it more, because religion was like forced on me growing up, so it kind of turned me away from it. But I do turn to the Bible from time to time. I like to be well versed in like a lot of things, so when people talk about religion, I want to be able to jump in that conversation and hold my own. Now, for me, like, I think the Bible is parables, it's poetry, and it's just a tool or a guideline, for the walk of life. I don't really think that you're supposed to take it verbatim. That's just me. I believe in a higher power. I believe in vibrations. Like when you said nature, you like to go out in nature, like frequencies and things of that nature. Like I believe in all that stuff. So that's as far as it goes, as far as me. Like I said, higher power. There is a guy, because if you think about it, you say, well, how are humans? How is the trees there? How can somebody physically develop a car, make a car, or things like that? So it has to come from somewhere. And then,
Yeah.
like you said earlier, when you was in school, you like to continue to ask questions. So every time you ask a question, somebody give you an answer. Now you want more information. Okay, let's take it a
Yes.
step further. How it is. So I was always like that. And that's how it is with religion. You're never going to get to an exact thing. You're never going to get a direct answer. Um, but it's, unless we have a relationship with something positive, we will never see faith or spiritual.
Touche.
Okay, Larry.
Who's that?
Oh, Larry, he was one of the guests I had on here a couple times. He's an activist. He does screenplays and short films and things of that nature. So he's doing things. He's a successful guy.
Okay.
Um, so all right, let's talk about trauma a little bit here. Since we was already talking about that. For you, what constitutes a traumatic event? And is there a universal definition for psychological trauma?
Oh, I'm going to need you to ask that again with the first part.
Okay. So what constitutes a traumatic event? When we talk about traumas, like a lot of times we say something traumatic happened, hence the word trauma.
Yeah.
So what constitutes a traumatic event? Like what magnitude do we look at it and say, okay, that thing, or that thing that happened, it was traumatic?
Well, to each person, it's different because, I mean, it's the same thing with like the studies that have been done with two children that lived in the same home growing up. One's
Right.
traumatized and one isn't. So it's unique to each individual. Now, for me, a traumatic event is something that causes a psyche break, or not even a psychic break, but causes somebody to reprogram themselves negatively. So for
Right.
me, it was my about to be ex-husband. It
Mm,
was being molested growing up, being screamed
mm,
at so much. For me, and watching my brother have cancer, and him being the strong rock of the family to being this brittle person who couldn't even walk, watching my mom go through her health problems and her health issues. So to me, all that was traumatic, but that isn't for everybody. Everybody is different, not just because that happened to me doesn't mean that, my sister was traumatized. She's not. Well, I mean, she is, but she wasn't as traumatized at such a deep level as I was.
since trauma is being in a position where we see no way out.
Yeah,
I
and it
agree with that.
causes you to leave. It causes you to go in that fight or flight, your nervous system going crazy.
Right.
Um, Feeling like we either want to run, scream, hide, or just stay stuck.
Right. Now, I agree with your definition or how you defined it, because, I asked that because sometimes when I talk about the traumas I've dealt with, a lot of people have told me that's not traumatic. How's that traumatic? And I'm like, to each his own. We all deal and cope with things differently, right?
Exactly.
And, like I know I've dealt with a lot of abandonment issues, right? That's traumatic.
Hmm.
Because in the long term, it affects your psyche, like, right? Like, just like you said, anything that breaks your psyche. Um, like I felt neglected, I felt unwanted, devalued, dehumanized, a
Negative
lot going on.
programming.
So growing up, I always felt like the world was against me, right? I felt like the
Hmm.
world was against me, and I felt like I had to be against the world, right? And it took a long time for me to get over that. Now I still have my moment of lapses where I still feel like everybody's against me for some reason, right? But my mindset is differently. Like I know how to snap myself out of it. Whereas growing up, I resorted to fighting all the time. I had a lot of rage, a lot of anger, and I just, I felt like when the world inflicted pain on me, like I could somewhat, as morbid as it sounds, I felt like I wanted that pain, right? But the more I had to endure, the more I wanted to dish out to people. So I've come a long way in my life, and so I'm proud of that. And I used to want validation all the time, every day. And if I didn't get validation, I felt like I needed to fight somebody or yell at somebody. I needed to channel that rage and that anger. But now I don't need validation. I feel like the only person I need that I need validation from is myself, because everything starts with self, right? And as long as I look at myself in the mirror every day and say I am, then I'm good. I'm in a good space. So, I do isolate myself sometimes. I shut down, for lack of better words, but it's healthy for me. It's better for me to do that than to lash out at somebody, right? And that's
Exactly.
why I do a lot of decompression, self-reflecting. I sit there in my own space, in my own mind, in my own silence, and I just think things through, and I try to act accordingly, right? Because people, places, things shape us to who we are. So like I said, I just wanted to say I liked how you put that, because what might be traumatic to me might not be to you. So a lot of people
Mhm.
need to understand that. How do childhood experiences contribute to adult psychological trauma? I'm sorry,
Oh,
I
well,
read that.
core wounds. I don't know if you know about those.
Yeah.
Most people have them. I had them. I had every single one of them. Carl Jung was very big in core wounds. Eckhart Tolle called it something else. My school calls it shadows. To each, I want to say almost every ancient culture calls it something else.
Mm,
Childhood experiences, we have the ages of being born until 7 years old, until our conscious is formed. And then it becomes your
mm,
subconscious. Your subconscious is the computer running in the background that's running the programming. Your conscious is what acts it out, plays it out. So between those ages of being born and 7 years old, if somebody abandoned you, somebody's screaming at you, somebody's touching you inappropriately, those incorporate those core wounds. And as we get older, unless you're able to face those core wounds and either alchemize them or just come face to face with them and reprogram yourself, then those core wounds will stay with you and they cause you to, like you had just said, fight, rage out with my, that's what, how my husband was. He was fighting and just raging and angry with everyone and everything. If he didn't get his way with something or somebody was doing something that he didn't like, he would get angry. And really it was
right.
because when he was younger at, whatever age, whenever he was acting out, somebody else would hit him. So his inner
Mm,
child, instead of, coming at it from a lovingly father perspective and sitting your children down, communicating with them on why you shouldn't do this or why you shouldn't do that, he just beat the shit out of them.
mm,
I actually even have that core wound. And after I kicked him out, I was the same with my children. And then and then finally one day I had to take accountability of my own shit. And I'm like, whoa, what the fuck? What the fuck am I really doing? I'm beating my kids.
right.
I'm following my 3-year-old around with a spoon, beating his ass. Like, that's not how
Right.
I want this done. And then I
Right.
had to do my core wound and my shadow work with my Summit 7 in my school. And I got to look at it from that third person perspective and got to literally see what happened to me when I was younger. And then I had to bring it into my inner they call it salutogenic. Some cultures call it the feminine masculine. Some cultures call it the kundalini. To each is its own. Bring it into that essence and that alchemizes it. And then we bring it to our higher brain so that it can fully be alchemized and you can use it for future growth.
Right. Right. Okay. I like that. Yeah, and that's why I have a lot of empathy, right? Like, because I've come to realize that, a lot of things that we might see in people that we look at as flaws or problems, we have to take a step back and try to understand why, right? Like,
Why
why
do
are
we
they
see
acting
it's
out
a
that way?
problem? And why are they,
And that,
yep, why are they like that? Yep.
right. So if we socialize with these people, instead of criticizing or putting them down, I think a lot of times what we should be doing is trying to help them. Like you said, you wanted to help people from a very young age. I would say probably since I was maybe like 8, 9 years old. I always had this dream. I had this one thing I wanted to do in life, and that was to help people, to give back to people that was less fortunate. I always wanted to. Always said to give back means make the world a better place. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? So I remember when I was very young, I had this thought process that like I didn't want to die, but I used to say if I wasn't here, the world would be at peace, right? And then as I got older, I used to say, I want to give back. I want to help people that feel the way I feel. I want to help people that think the way I think. And, so the man I am today, it's all about giving back. It's about positivity. I don't like negativity. I don't like to argue. Like you said earlier, I don't like none of that. So I just want to help people. I come with a lot of peace and that's that. Um, so I got another question for you. How do trauma symptoms vary between children, adolescents, and adults?
Mm, it depends. I mean, with my kids, they act out, they scream. With me, I have to go in my room and mine's just my nervous system. It goes crazy. I want to cry. I want to scream. I want to pull my hair all at the same time. Um, Now with depression symptoms, they mostly just want to isolate.
Mm.
Um, Bipolar with them, it's being happy and then sad and then angry, all all over the place. Each mental disorder has symptoms. I don't even really believe in mental disorders anymore. I totally just believe in core wounds. We're all just hurt people fucking hurting other people. Now,
Mm.
the mental health society and stigma, to me, that's the stigma. We want to tell you you have a problem and that you got to take fucking medications and come to therapy your entire life, or it will forever be a problem, so that we can keep you sick and keep making money off of you. That to me is the stigma. To me, that's let's keep you sick and keep you in your safety zone. And it reinforces the lower brain, which is the sameness equals safety.
Right.
And that's a problem in itself. But the symptoms is dependent on the person and which core wound or diagnosis you're working with.
Gotcha. Now, I did have plenty of debates and conversations about that. Like, because when you look at things in the grand scheme of things, like it do feel like that a lot of times. It do seem like that the government is pushing that agenda, like, oh, you need to be on medication. Now, if you look about like at kids in school now, the we're at an all-time high as far as percentages of kids that's diagnosed with ADHD or bipolar or anything like schizophrenic. We like if you look at the census, they say like the
The
percentages are very high
statistics,
now.
yeah, it's terrible.
And
It's fucking
like
terrible.
each year it's getting worse. And it's like sometimes you got, well, at least I do. Sometimes I take a step back and I say, why? It just seems like it's a money grab. And I don't want to jump out the window and say that's exactly what it is, but it feels like that a lot of times. It feels like the government is saying, okay, well, we got to make money somewhere. So let's just push this agenda and let's keep pushing this medication, because if you think about it, like these people making a pretty penny off of the
Millions.
medications and stuff, right?
Millions. Big
Eh,
Pharma is millionaires and they own social media. They own the
mm,
news. They own all these commercials that you see saying, if you feel depressed, take a Zoloft. But then, in the smaller writing, they don't see the side effects that it can cause
right,
now. Not can, but will cause now or within 10, 20, 30 years. So not only are these, and that's why I love JFK, because he's in there, he wants people to know about the side effects. He doesn't
right,
like even with the vaccinations with the children, it might not happen to everybody right now, and it
mm,
might each side effect is different because everybody's unique in their own DNA and in their cells and within themselves, but they're guaranteed. So these mental health drugs, the statistics are getting so much worse that it's fucking scary. Not only the
right,
statistics in school and children, but look at the statistics with everybody killing each other, the
right,
massacres, the assassinations. I don't even watch the fucking news because it's nothing but negative bullshit. Somebody's getting killed, somebody's getting molested, somebody's getting raped, there's a drug bust, there's this, there's that. Like, I don't even
mm,
want to hear the shit, so I don't even watch it no more. My school
right,
did a survey, okay, and this is how you tell the difference. You can look it up, source code Alchemy Institute research. Put it into Google Scholars, not Google, not even Chat GPT. Put it into Google Scholars. Look into the research that they've done.
mm,
People that start the school, including me, depression, PTSD. I was still on Zoloft when I started the school. I was on
mm,
Zoloft and I was still on my MAT, the MAT drug. At the end of school, well, end of the first half of school, I was off the Zoloft and still on my MAT, and I didn't get Lantern Fine landed on me. Sorry. Towards my master's degree, I wasn't able to get off the MAT until then. But the beginning of the school, I was still depressed and still in my PTSD, still had those symptoms. And then towards the end of the school, they do another research. They have you fill out another questionnaire and they do another EKG brain scan. So my school, all they do is meditate. That's what they do. They teach meditation, but it's higher brain meditation. So it's a little bit different than just normal go or you're just trying to quiet the thoughts in your brain or any other kind of meditation I'm sure anybody has ever tried. Beginning of the school, people's symptoms are high. End of the school, they're low with no medications. Now, you sit there and you go to therapy and you take those meds. Tell me at the beginning how many people, like maybe 1 out of 10, their symptoms get better. And it's because they're also working the coping skills, though, as well as medications and therapy. But it's, to me, with my clients, like I'm a mental health specialist, I incorporate my holistic healings with my clients. And 9 out of my 10 clients have gotten better because they are not, they're still was on medications. Half of them are not on any medications anymore, but it's because they're also doing the inner work and incorporating those coping skills as well as therapy and medications. It's not, you can't just take meds and expect it to be gone. It's not how fucking life works. As above, so below. Your inner world's chaotic. Your outer world's going to be chaotic. No medication can take that away. It can't. And until you can reprogram those inner thoughts, that's the first thing I do with my clients. Let's reprogram you. That's what you need. Because if you don't reprogram yourself, those thoughts, you're going to keep shaping your reality to whatever the hell you want, buddy. And I teach them the laws of the universe, the laws of correspondence, laws of cause and effect. Like, if you don't know those laws, you're going to keep attracting chaotic people. You're going to keep attracting challenge after challenge. You're going to keep attracting whatever reality, your thoughts and whatever frequency you are on. And they're on meds like halfway through it. And then within a year of me being their case manager, they're off of their meds. They're living happily. They got their kids back. They're not having to go to therapy anymore. But that's the only reason why, is because we're doing the inner work, spiritual work.
Right. Now that's a good segue to the whole mental health thing, because when you mentioned the mental health, I like that, by the way, because if it's a way to treat people without medication, I think that's a more effective way. I mean,
but they
like
won't do it. Big Pharma, the government and Big Pharma makes too much money. Like, I've tried reaching out to JFK and asking for them to fund me, do an inpatient or an inpatient and an outpatient treatment center that's holistic based. And I got a letter back saying that they will not let him. Like, and it was actually a letter from his address, not from the state capitol. They will not let him fund me because they make too much money from people being sick and people staying sick. Because not only that, but these mental health meds are causing physical health disorders and diseases and cancers years later. So we have somebody who doesn't come from a family that gets cancer, and all of a sudden they get cancer, or they get kidney disease or heart disease, and then they don't read the side effects and with their drugs. And here it's because they were on Zoloft for 5 years when they were 10 to 15 years old, or whatever the fuck age it was. Like, it's just side effects. And instead of addressing those side effects, these doctors are giving you more meds.
Right.
That's all it is. It's more fucking meds.
So for you personally, how is your mental health today?
Today, it's a hell of a lot better than it was last week.
Got you. I mean, we all go through things, but I'm glad that this week is better than last week, because we all go through it. I have my moments where I'm in this fog and this depression where I just want to be by myself. Like, consciously, I want to be around other people. Consciously, I want to talk to a whole bunch of people, but subconsciously, it's like I don't know, it's something blocking it. Sometimes I just sit there and just people will talk to me. It might be people that I want to talk to, and it's just like I'm not there. You know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like a whole different person. So I'm glad that you're in a better space this week than you were last week.
I feel like it's in cycles. We all have cycles that we're either going to learn from or we're going to keep staying in. I'm pretty sure, I don't remember if it was Hermetic. I think it might have been in the Hermetic knowledge that we all have cycles, and they come in 3s, 6s, and 9s. Nikola Tesla said, if you want to know the key to the universe, look in 3, 6, 9. And these cycles, they will keep repeating themselves, regardless if it's in relationships or it's in financial or it's in the job aspect. And I think I finally beat mine, and mine was with my husband, not making him respect my boundaries. And instead of allowing him to scream at me and curse me out, I'm hanging up the phone and I'm calling my lawyer and sending her the information so that she can help me type it out and put it into the court. I finally went and did a contempt order against him because he has not done anything the judge told him to do for a year now. And I'm just done trying to make life easy on him so that he can be the best dad that he can be, because he's not being the best dad he can be, not when our son barely fucking sees you. So that was my cycle, was allowing people and relationships, whether they're past or current relationships, disrespect my boundaries. Because we all have to stick to our boundaries. Because if we're allowing that disrespect, that means we're taking on that frequency and we're holding on to it. And that's just not a good negative frequency that I want for myself or my children. So I think I finally beat that fucking cycle, though, because I put my foot down and I'm sticking to it.
That's good. So I speaking about, okay, so what emotions have been dominant in your life as of late?
As of late, just love.
Yeah,
just love.
Okay, that's good.
Love and life. Yeah.
Love is great. You know, you
I
got a lot of
refuse to accept or express anything but love. I don't want to express anger. I don't want to express any negative emotion. And to me, that's love and authenticity, and light is the highest, not only the highest frequency to operate on, but that's how you manifest shit that you want. So that's all I want.
Now, some people have difficulties with the word love, because I feel like a lot of people, if they haven't experienced love growing up or they was neglected, it's hard for them to put out love or show love because they didn't feel love themselves. So to those people, I say, you know, love yourself first, find out who you are, get in tune with yourself, right? And then you will be able to express love a little bit more, and then you'll be happier, right? Because love is happiness. That's all it is.
Yes. Yeah. Loving your inner child, because if you don't love your inner child and yourself, and you don't, like, for me, it's visualizing within my meditations. Now, our school has a Summit 7 where it's the shadow work, the one I said, where you bring the memory into the salutogenic, or the whatever it is, the energy that goes through us all. I also do core wound meditations. And that, at the end of that, I'm visualizing my inner child, what I look like from a third person perspective. So I'm up here and I see me, myself right now, what I look like right now, hugging my little girl, hugging my inner child when I think it was ages 9, 12, and 15. So I'm hugging her. I'm loving her. I'm accepting her exactly how she is. I'm keeping her safe and showing her that it is safe to feel love and it's safe to express love. Because when we go throughout our life and we're not getting the unconditional love from our parents because they're constantly on their phone, or they're on drugs, or they're in a fucked up relationship themselves and can't even find time to breathe, let alone show you love, you're incorporating those core wounds into your children, and it'll keep going on. That's what I call a generational curse. It'll keep going on for generations and generations.
Right. Okay. So what are some things that bring you joy and make you feel good?
Hanging out with my kids and having fun with them, that I don't get to do enough of because I have to work constantly and do homework constantly. I almost cried. That's literally, if I could just do that all day long, that's what I would do. I would take them for trips. I would go explore creeks and do whatever they even wanted to do. More often, there's not enough time. I'm not even going to say there's not enough time, because I don't believe in time. It's just that I only have so much energy. So when I get done working a 10-hour shift, and then I have to come home and I got to cook dinner, and then I got to help them do their homework, and then I got to help brush teeth and guide throughout the showers and the baths and get them ready for bed. By the time they go to bed, it's 9 o'clock, and then I got to stay up until 12:30 a.m. doing my own homework and my own inner work, and then be up at 6. So it's like, I only have so much energy throughout Monday through Friday. So Saturday and Sunday, those are our days to go have fun, to go do whatever the fuck our soul wants to do more of.
I love that. So that is hard, right? Because, you know, I want the same thing for my kids. I want to be able to be there with them every second of the day and do things. But at the same time, I also want to do things for myself. Like, I've been doing this podcast thing since like last year, summertime, I believe it was. And it was going good, no problems. And then I'm trying to successfully start my food truck business. So I started doing that. And then I started writing my first book to be published. And my younger brother said, listen, I think you're trying to juggle too many things at one time. And I'm like, no, I got it. It's doable. I got it under control. But I haven't had a podcast for 6 or 7 weeks because writing my book consumed all my time, that and my kids. So and it's been difficult, and I've been trying to bounce back and try to do those things and give my kids the time, and it's almost impossible to find that balance. So I mean, I've today's the first time back doing the podcast, and I will get back to doing the book. But my kids have been in a happier place. They've been happier because I've been devoting more time to them, and so I mean, I guess that's the highlight, because at the end of the day, it's all about them, right? While they're young, it's all about them. So sometimes it's things in life we want to do as an adult, as a parent, that they just got to take the back seat. So I struggled with that for a while, but it's like I'm at peace with it now. The things I want to do, it'll come in time. So I can't rush it. One thing my father used to tell me and my brother all the time is haste makes waste. So I don't want to hastily just say, let me jump on this and do this, because I'm a perfectionist, so I like things to come out smooth and to the best of my ability. So part of that is being the best parent I could possibly be. So I
Absolutely.
hear you.
Absolutely. My mentor, like my new mentor, I had told him about, me taking the zone technique, the Reiki, and the master's degree. He said, I'm going to make a high suggestion to you. Pick one, give it all of your effort and focus, and then finish that one and then go to the other. So since then, that's what I've been doing. And I finally finished my zone technique videos, and I go to my certification October 4th through 5th. After I get certified in that, then I'm going to focus on my Reiki, because I need to make that extra money so that I'm not working so much with my career, because that's what brings me joy, other than my kids, is helping people heal holistically, because I've done it and I want to let people know that they can do it. And not only that, but helping people get off the MATs and off the heroin and crack. And around here lately, it's crystal meth. Like, I want them to see that there is another side to life, that they can do it, and they can do it holistically. They don't have to go to a hospital and go through withdrawals and be stuck in that hospital. They can find a safe place and a safe space to do it holistically. But it's when you give that one thing your focus and all of your time and attention, where attention goes, energy flows. So if you have 3 things with your attention and focus, and you're not able to give all those 3 things your full attention and focus, that means your energy is going to be all over the place. But if you can give it to just that one, that's how I've been able to complete my zone technician courses so fastly, and then go get certified for that, and then focus it all on one. So it's done.
So yeah, and
One and we're
like
done.
I said, I had to learn that the hard way. I try to be stubborn and thinking I could do so much, but like you said, it's not enough time in a day. And
No, there's not.
it's crazy. A lot of people, what, one thing I hate when people say, if I had more time in a day, I would do this and I would do that. And I'm like, no, you won't. So I had to break it down to somebody like this, like a couple weeks ago. I'm like, why do you say if you had more time in a day, you would do all these extra things? And then, so they gave me their reason, and I broke it down like this. I'm like, listen, as humans, we are all creatures of habit, right? We tend to do the same thing. So what we do within 24 hours, it'll be the same thing we would do if the day was 48 hours in one day. You know what I'm saying? Because if you think about it, say if you like to play the video game, well, you'll just play that video game even longer. Work shifts will be longer shifts if it was more time in a day. So everything we like to do, or everything that we do in life, will just be extended. So in all actuality, with extra time, we will not be doing other things. We'll be doing the same things, just for a longer period of time. So
Exactly.
then the person I told that to, they smiled and they said, you know what, you got a point. So I mean, I like thought-provoking conversations and stuff. So I like intricate things. I like to really dig deep and get into discussion. So yeah, so that's one thing about time. It is what it is. We just got to make the best of it. Like you were saying, choose one thing, focus on that before moving to the next thing. And at a young age, we all taught you got to crawl before you walk. So,
yep.
It's not
the society demands all this shit from us. They demand us to work. We have to work 8 hours a day. You're supposed to sleep for 8 hours a day, and there's only so much time in one day. So it's the demands of society were out the window. What would we really be? That's what you need to do in your free time, regardless if it's just an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, whatever brings us more joy inwardly, not with all the distractions, the video games, the TV, the phones, and all this shit. I mean, yeah, you got to use the phone once in a while, and it's okay to watch TV a little bit, but not all the goddamn time.
Right.
That's when, to me, it becomes a problem.
The Divine Poets. Who is that? I'm not sure who you are. If you will put it in the comments. So, okay, what challenges have you been facing recently?
Recently, it's been, well, other than, what was that, yesterday? It was my husband. It was being able to put my foot down. It wasn't even putting my foot down, but finding the finances to be able to put my foot down to him, because I had to pay a lawyer and do all this other shit that I felt like I shouldn't have to do because he refuses to be a father to our child and refuses to help me financially at all. Like, I mean, I get it. I get the struggle. And that's the only reason why I didn't ask the judge from the very beginning to put him on child support and demand that he paid half of the debts that he had put me in, because everything had to go in my name because I had good credit, was only because I understood that he only made so much money, and I didn't want him to work so hard that he got to spend no time with his son. But no matter what, that happened anyways. Like, it happened anyways. This man does nothing but work, and he still doesn't spend no time with his child because he got 2 whole kids since I kicked him out. So it was like the universe was like, here, let me show you a lesson. Let me give you this mirror a little bit more. Let's stare at it. Let's stare at it. Let's stare at it. Okay, are you ready to change now? Okay, let's give it to you some more, some more, some more. Okay, are you ready to learn, Ashley? And I'm like, fuck yeah, I'm ready to learn. So I was a Friday. I went and I did the contempt on him. And I'm actually, every other time I've seen him in court, I was always so nervous. I was like shaking and crying and ready to cry and scream, fight or flight. And now I'm actually excited to go to court. I'm excited to see this man give the judge his excuses and to see how the judge is going to respond to his excuses, because I know she's not going to have the same response that I've been giving him, being so understanding and convenient. This judge is going to look at him and say, sir, your wife has been paying for your son's daycare, his nanny fees, his food, his clothing, his shelter for 18 months now, and you have not given her 1 penny like you were supposed to. So now they are going to start child support, and now I would hope they garnish his wages for all the money that he hasn't been paying me toward shit. That was me putting my foot down because we deserve better.
Right. So I can see your husband, or soon to be ex-husband, however you view it. I can see that's a big piece in your life right now, because we talked in great length about him today. It's so, but that's the thing about loving relationships and just relationships in general. It's hard. It's hard to get in them. It's hard to maintain them. It's hard to get out of them. It's one of those tricky things in life. So, how do you handle stress in difficult situations?
I fucking breathe. I breathe. That's what I got to do. I got to take that conscious breath, because if I don't, then I'm going to become reactive, especially when it's with my kids, right? Because my youngest and my oldest are still very traumatized, and they like reacting out of anger and screaming and all of that. And I'm just like, let's go breathe. And sometimes we all 3 have to come outside in our bare feet and ground and breathe and let the light in. Sometimes I have to not only breathe, I have to go into myself and let the light in through each cell. And meditating. If I didn't meditate every day, I'd probably be fucking lost still. I would still be the old me, because meditating with putting my higher brain first, it's literally changed my whole life. Like, my school has changed everything about me, how I look at life, how I look at myself, how I manifest, how I treat others, how I treat my children, how I work, and everything I do. I know how to give intention to anything and everything I do now. I know how to actually visualize my thoughts. I tried meditating before I went to school, and my thoughts wouldn't shut the fuck up. They were like a racetrack that just kept going and going and going, like the damn Energizer Bunny. They would not shut up. But my school taught me how to visualize my thoughts as words inside your brain from a third-person perspective. And that third-person perspective is the universal God perspective. Whatever, people believe in different things, whatever y'all believe in, it's actually visualizing it from that third-person perspective outside of your body. So you're up there, you're over here, you're in front of you, you're behind you, but you're seeing it as like you're in there reading a book. And that's where the magic happens, because once you're able to observe your thoughts, you can let them bitches go. That's the fun part. You can let them bitches go. They're not your thoughts. Those thoughts ain't you. That body isn't you. You are so much deeper.
Right. Now, the one thing you said about, going out in nature or outside barefoot, right? So this might sound crazy to some people, but I had a couple people, when they was telling me about holistic healing and just spirituality and things like that, and vibrations and frequencies. Somebody had told me a couple months ago, the next time I feel angry or upset, just walk barefoot outside. I've changed. I mean, I've tried it, and it's crazy. I don't know why, but like when you're angry, and anybody that's viewing this, I implore you to try it. Like for some reason, it changes your mood. Like I've been in a bad mood, and I just walk outside barefoot, and it's like I don't know. I don't know what it is. It changed my mood. For me, I don't know. It feels weird, but it just changes my mood. I don't know why
Oh
that
yeah,
is.
most
It's the
definitely.
weirdest thing.
I bought these
It's
shoes. They're
weird.
called grounding shoes, right? They're
Right.
leather bound and it's got copper in them so that I can ground all day long. The rubber in our shoes is what cuts us off from Earth's healing energy. Gaia
Right.
sends out a heartbeat. It's called the shaman resonance. Google it, Google Scholars it, whatever you want to do. And that heartbeat frequency is fucking healing frequency for us, for nature.
Mm.
It's the network of the mycelium underneath the ground, and it sends Earth's got its own healing fucking heartbeat. Who knew, right?
Right.
And this is why if you walk outside with one shoe in rubber and then the other no foot on the other, no foot, no rubber sole on the other shoe, and you hold one of those meters with the rubber sole, it's not going to go very far. But when you take that shoe off, sweetheart, that is when it starts. That's when that healing starts, and that healing can work through you. And
Mm.
it's not even just like a mental healing. If you do it every day for 20 minutes a day, especially when that sun first comes up, that first hour, that sun and the earth itself togetherness, oh my Lord, have mercy. It is, when I say healing, it's healing you on a cellular level. And it's
Right. Right.
beautiful. And not only is it
Right.
beautiful, for your eyesight, for everything else, but it's beautiful to be able to witness that type of healing.
Right. Now that might sound weird to a lot of people, but if it does to some people, you got to think about it like a car. The same concept works with everything in life. A car, you need the battery, you need the ground wire. So it goes back to what you was just
Mhm.
saying. So it's
Yeah.
crazy. The
You
frequencies and
have to ground
vibrations
it.
and the
Yeah.
energy. Yeah, yeah. So I like that. So I wanted to say this earlier when we was talking about the whole addiction thing. So I just want to congratulate you for getting off of drugs and being sober and clean and things of that nature. How long have you been sober? 'Cause I know
I've
you
been
said you had a moment
sober.
of lapse.
I've been sober off heroin for about 10 years, give or take. I
That's good.
relapsed at the end of 2018 off cocaine. That's when my husband found me, blah, blah, blah. I've been off of MATs, the Subutex, since April, January, March, April. I want to say April of last year, April, maybe even May of last year, I've been off of the Subutex. And ever since I was able to finally get off of that, it was like this big cloud, like just finally, you know how in Eminem songs he used to talk about that big cloud that follows him wherever it goes. That was following me everywhere. Wherever I went, there was
Right.
people that was like filled with sadness and anger that would just find me, I felt like. And
Right.
that was that big cloud. But ever since I was able to get off of Subutex, I was actually able to think clearly. I was able to feel clearly. And it's because Subutex, it not only gets in your brain cells and in your brain neural pathways, but it also gets in your bones. Like my
Right.
teeth were rotting out of my face. My bones were brittle and fucking breaking just from me tripping over air, bro. Tripping over air. I got a sprained ankle and I'm 34 years old. Like, how does this happen? It's because
Right.
my bones were rotting from the inside out because I was on Subutex. Any kind of MAT drug, regardless if it's methadone, Subutex, Suboxone, they get into your bones. That is why you
Right.
don't have those withdrawals because you quit those drugs. And it's fucking
Got
sad because people don't even know that until they're ready to get off them. And then they're like, oh, why does every bone in my body ache and I not want to move from this bed because it's painful? That's why.
right. Interesting. I mean, I've heard that too. That's crazy. Let me ask you this: what triggers have you identified that led you to substance use when you was using?
Ooh. For me, it used to be just being alone. I couldn't be
Oh,
alone to save my goddamn life. It was terrible.
so
Um,
so feeling lonely led you to that was a trigger for you to use?
everything was a trigger to me. Like I would use everything as an excuse. The woman at McDonald's looked at me the wrong way.
Mm,
Somebody yelled at me, or I lost my phone or my charger. Like I would pretty much use any excuse to use. Everything and
mm,
anything was a trigger. Anything and everything that brought on a negative emotion that I did not want to feel, I would use.
right. Got you.
I mean, and that's why most people use is they want to escape those thoughts and those emotions. And that's what drugs do. They help you escape that pain that we're refusing to look at. When really that pain can help us learn. And if we overcome it and quit looking at it as a challenge and pain, look at it as it is an opportunity to learn, then you learn from it and you move the fuck on.
Mm. So, what's one lesson that you've learned about yourself during recovery?
Oh, how to love myself
Okay,
fully,
that's
authentically. Yes.
that's important. So as I was asking you that, I was thinking like, just that you mean something, right? Because you said
Mhm.
at one point that you went every day saying you just didn't want to live anymore, right? So love yourself and just knowing that you matter, right? And if you didn't matter to nobody else, you should matter to yourself, right? So you
Exactly.
you know everybody's important. Everybody was created for a reason. So we just got to find our purpose. So like I said, I'm glad you're out of that dark space. So and moving forward, and you're successful, and you continue to strive. And the most important thing, the one thing I love is that you're a strong woman, and you're there for your kids, and you're trying to be the best you can be for your kids. And even though you're going to divorce or whatever, you wanted your kids' fathers to be active in your kids' life. The one that's incarcerated. You open those doors for that line of communication. So all that stuff is important, and I commend you for that. So, um, are there any habits or routines you found helpful in maintaining sobriety?
Mm. Not only finding your love, but incorporating it and practicing it every single day. If I go a day without my self love routines, which my self love routines I do,
Right.
that's why I wake up at 6 a.m. and that's why I go to bed at 12:30. Everybody's got dimensions. We got the relationship dimension, mind dimension, physical dimension, and environment dimension. Each one of those should have time every single day. If you don't spend time in those every single day, that's when chaos starts happening because you're not working on your astral body, your physical body. You're not focusing on you and your self-love. And that's your
Mm,
self-love. Keeping your environment clean, keeping your mind clean of clutter. Because if your environment's cluttered, your mind's going to be cluttered with thoughts and emotions. If your relationships are chaotic, like they manipulate each other. And if you look at it at an energetic level, they really do. So if we're sitting there thinking bad thoughts about ourselves, how does that express itself, right? It expresses itself in our environment, our relationship, and everything. So for me, that's what it's been is making sure I'm spending right now, I'm only able to spend 30 minutes in each environment. And that's just because I have to work so goddamn much to be able to keep up with my finances and taking care of my kids. As soon as I go to divorce court and I get the money that I need for my kids, I can actually fucking breathe and not have to work all goddamn day. And I'm like so tickled pink by this because the one thing I wanted to do this summer was take my boys camping. We're going to do that tonight, just like I said, in my spare house's yard, but we're not going to be able to like my boys like to go on trips. They like to go places. They like to have fun. But they don't always like doing what I like to do, which for me, just camping in the yard, I'm okay with. They don't want to camp in the yard per se. They'd rather go on a mountaintop. They'd rather go, whitewater rafting or something like that. They don't want to
right.
just sit in nature and bask in it like me. I mean, yeah, they'll do it, but they're not exactly my youngest. He loves it. But my oldest, he's 13 and he wants to do stuff that's exciting, not stuff that just you sit there and you listen to the birds chirp and the
That's
noise that
understandable.
isn't. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
At 13, yeah.
yeah, he's 13 and he's came a long way in the last they really both have. Like I am so I really feel like they're healing faster than what I could have ever imagined, or I am. Like, my youngest therapist told me that it would take me at least 4 years to reprogram him and reprogram his nervous system so he wasn't screaming "fuck you, bitch" in the middle of Kroger's. And I looked at her and I said, "Ain't no fucking way, ain't no way it's
Right.
taken 4 years, and it's only taken a year, because he ain't done
Right.
that about 3 to 6 months. He ain't done that.
Right. Well, that's good. That's good. And that's just growth within your household. So, you know, congrats
It's
to you
keeping those
once again.
dimensions together, keeping those dimensions, relationships, which is with them, my inner world, my body, and my environment. When you do that in front of your kids, something happens energetically. Your energy is balanced and
Right.
it's euphoric, right? We all have this aura that surrounds us. It's finally scientifically proven. They're releasing the documents from CIA that shows this stuff's proven.
Right.
um, it affects the other person that you are living with. Anybody that comes in your auric field, it will affect them. So as I'm healing and sticking with these dimensions, which helps not only my recovery, but it also helps my children heal.
Got you. All right.
Yes.
So speaking of relationships, how did your addiction affect your relationships? Whether that was, like a significant other, with your kids, friends, things of that nature.
Ugh. I didn't have any real friends. I didn't
Mm,
have, I mean, even to this day, the only person I really have to support me is my mom. And my friend
mm,
Lavon, she's a godsend. My friend Tara, she's very busy, but she's been there. My friend Tara's been there through it all, through my messy stage, through my happy stage, the back and forth, the cycles. She's helped me. She's the one that suggested for me to read the books that literally saved my goddamn life. Um, but when I was at my full blown addiction, I didn't have nobody. I mean, even my
mm.
mom had to turn her back on me. But what's crazy is that if my mom wouldn't have turned her back on me and quit enabling me, I would have never pulled myself out of that hole, because
Right.
she was there to save me. She was there to bring me food. She was there to bring me money. She was there to give me a ride. She was there to offer me that love and that support that my soul needed more of. And because of
Right.
that, I never found it for myself. I was never able to pull myself up out of it.
Got you. Okay. So let me ask this. What short-term goal are you currently working towards?
Short term goal I'm currently working towards is build.
Uh-oh. See if she can get back so we can conclude it. I know she had this issue earlier. Um, yeah, it's important for us all to set goals for ourselves. I like to tell people to have vision boards, um, to-do lists, to keep our lives organized. Because as we were saying earlier, like life is demanding. Um, life is going to continue to keep on lifing. Life ain't easy. It's not fair. It is what it is. And I just want to say this because I meant to say it earlier. I don't know if you still watch it or not, but what's up, China? It's been a long time. I know you got married, so I had to touch bases with you to see how that was. See if it's changed you as a woman, or you still feel the same. I know sometimes people get married and they say it changed them, or at least they feel like they've turned into a different person. So I'm just curious. So I'll definitely touch bases with you on that. See if Ashley come back so we can conclude. I know she said something about like her phone was overheating or something because she was using her phone. Um, but but yeah, mental health, addiction, traumas. It's a lot. These are things that a lot of us in life we go through. So if we have anybody in our lives that's suffering from any of these, just continue to just reach out to them and be in the support that they need, because we all need support. Um, Sorry, I was just reading a text from him. Yeah. So, anyways, I appreciate everybody that's been tuning in. Like I said, it's been a long time coming. But I have another podcast tomorrow, and I'm looking to just get back on track. And every week, continue to do at least 2 of these. So just be on the lookout for that. A whole bunch of different topics. One of my ideas I had was to have a anthology on love and relationships. I think that's a topic that everybody can get behind. Everybody got their own testimony, their own stories about love and relationships, whether that's with a significant other or a family. So yeah, I definitely want to do an anthology on that and just pick the minds of different people. I have a lot of good questions too, like relationship questions. Some of them I've been posting on Snapchat, some of them on Facebook. But I think that once I get that started, I'll pick one question and let that be the focal point. I mean, obviously we can branch out and talk about different things, but one question is the focal point. Yeah, I look forward to it, man. I always try to be creative. Also, like I was saying before, I also gotta get back into cooking, man, so I can give y'all some content on that. I'm supposed to be starting to work on this food truck. A friend of mine, he wants me to take over his food truck because he just got a second one, and obviously he can't run them both. So that's exciting. So that'll give me a hands-on experience for when I run my own. I've been in the restaurant industry for going on 19 years. I've been a manager for 7 years, so I understand the managerial side, the numbers, the food costs, and things of that nature. So I'm looking forward to that. I know my friend has a couple of big events coming up. He asked me, he said, "Hey, you want to just work the smaller ones, or you want to jump right into the fire and do these big events?" And I was like, "Listen, sign me up. I'm ready for the big events. Just tell me the menu and tell me how I got to do it." And I'm a fast learner, and I look forward to that, man. I know, shit. Was it next week? I think. Yeah, next week. It's a big event he got going on. So I'm gonna do that. It's like an hour away from where I live, but yeah, that's gonna be fun. It's like 6 hours long, the event. Um, a lot of charity events, a lot of community, because that's something we like to do too, is give back to the community. And the thing is, when you do things in the community, for like schools or Pop Warner football teams and things like that, then when you need help, right, they don't forget you. They're there for you, and they're there to support and help promote your own brand. So that's why I do the things I do. I mean, that, and plus it's just a good feeling to be able to satisfy somebody else and make them happy. I'm not sure if she's coming back. So what else do I have in the works? Like I said, I mentioned my book that I've been writing. I'm almost done with 10 chapters, and I intend on having 16 chapters. For those that don't know what kind of book, it's an autobiography that I've been writing on myself. Just talking about my upbringing, some of the things I talked about during this episode, as far as feeling neglected, as far as childhood traumas, abandonment issues. So all this stuff I'm going into in great detail inside the book. Um, Places I lived, um, behavior issues, my thought process. And I'm just trying to really get more in tune with myself. I always wanted to write this, and for like at least 20 years, I've been saying, like, I need to get this out. I need to figure out what makes me tick. I need to figure out why I think the way I think, or why I do the things I do. So as I started doing this and writing these pages, I started to see things through a bigger lens, like, okay, well, I did this or I had this thought, but it stemmed from this. So as a father, it also helped me because some of us say that we have kids to relive our lives through them and try to make it better and correct the wrong. So that's kind of where I'm at with this. Things that would have helped me, I'm applying to my life. So that's that. So, um, it's been a minute since she responded. So that's going to conclude today's episode. I hope you all enjoyed it and got something out of it. Um, I'll text her later or talk to her later. She's more than welcome to come back. Hopefully under different circumstances with no technical difficulties. But if you haven't already, continue to like, share, comment, subscribe. I'm back. That's all I got to say. I'm back. I'll be back here tomorrow, 7:30, with another great guest. And then, like I said, at least twice a week. And next week, it might be loaded though. Next week, I might do every day except for Sunday, because Sunday is dedicated to football. My son got football, and then it's NFL football. So I might run a marathon next week. I might do Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. I might get that active with it. We'll see. I have a couple people scheduled, so like I said, just stay tuned, and all you gotta do is hit that bell and that notification thing, and every time I post, it'll let you know I'm going live. And I'll continue to put out promotional flyers on Snapchat and Facebook. So until tomorrow, enjoy y'all's day, and stay positive and stay supportive and be there for your loved ones. Be a great parent. But yeah, I'm out of here. See you tomorrow.